What's going on, everyone? Happy Sunday to everyone. Hopefully everyone is doing well and having a great day so far. It is time now for the Sunday edition of the Weather Update for Sunday, February 11th, 2024. We do have a lot to talk about today, such as the storm system in the southeast, which is producing severe weather and snow, and then it is going to eventually become one of the biggest snowstorms of the season for the Northeast. If you're new to my channel, this is where we do the daily weather update. We talk about the weather forecast for the United States, both the short term and the long term. We talk about weather records that may happen around the world, and sometimes extreme weather around the world as well. If you like this type of content, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel down below, and share this across the board on social media or with whoever you know. All right, starting off today with the satellite picture. You can see here we do have a lot of clouds across the eastern portion of the United States. Our main storm system is now developing across portions of Texas and Oklahoma. Just to the southeast of this, there is severe weather at this time. There have already been multiple tornado warnings this morning. I've been tweeting them out on Twitter. There's also severe thunderstorm warnings right now in portions of Louisiana. On the northwest side of this system, you do have rain changing to snow. And there are winter storm warnings that are up for portions of northern Texas. You're seeing a lot of clouds ahead of this. There are some showers in the mid-Atlantic region. There are clouds well into Pennsylvania and even portions of New York, like New York City. You're in the clouds this morning. I think that's going to continue. They may thin out this afternoon, but for the most part, this area of cloudiness is likely going to continue. Taking a look at radar, you can see here across portions of Texas, Amarillo, Lubbock, Texas, you guys, you're under winter storm warnings at this time, and you can see here, your rain is going to start changing to snow if it hasn't done so already. Wichita Falls, yes, even you could see some snow out of this system. Then we come down to this, around Houston, on up into Shreveport, Louisiana, you do have a severe weather threat, and that severe weather threat is going to continue eastward all afternoon, and there will be isolated tornadoes. We'll take a look at that in just a moment. National hazards map here. Winter storm watches. They continue in the northeast. I suspect either tonight or first thing tomorrow morning, we will start to see winter storm warnings go up for portions of north central Pennsylvania, northeast Pennsylvania, portions of New York State, portions of Massachusetts, even southern New Hampshire and northern Connecticut. It's looking likely that you are going to see winter storm warnings, possibly even southern Vermont, but we'll have to see how far this storm actually gets. Then there is a flooding threat as well from Alabama into northern Georgia, including Atlanta, on up into South Carolina and portions of North Carolina, where there could be training heavy rainfall with this system. You do see the severe thunderstorm watches and a tornado watch, which is now up in Texas. There's going to be another tornado watch, probably within the next hour or so, that goes up for portions of Louisiana. Storm Prediction Center saying that is likely. And of course, we do see the winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories that are up for portions of Texas, Oklahoma, northwest Arkansas, southeast Kansas, and portions of Missouri. And on the West Coast, things are not too active at this time. Not much to be concerned about there, which is why we're not giving you much attention at the moment. Florida, things are quiet for you at the moment, though. You will see a severe weather threat tomorrow in the Florida Panhandle. Let's take a look at the days 1 through 7 precipitation. And you can see in the southeast, you can see we are expecting a lot of precipitation over the next several days. Look at this. Georgia is really going to be the jackpot, as is South Carolina, where there could be anywhere from 2 to 4 inches of precipitation, locally 4+ inches. And you can see even back across Oklahoma, look at that, over 1.5 inches of precipitation is expected for you. And you can see where the snowstorm is going to set up north and west of the I-95 corridor in the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. You can see here relatively high precipitation amounts, which means your snowfall is going to be relatively impressive. All right, moving on here. Taking a look. There is a slight risk of excessive rainfall for today across portions of Alabama, Georgia, and portions of South Carolina. Then there's a large marginal risk that extends back into Texas. Continuing to the day 2 outlook, you can see there is a marginal risk of flash flooding and excessive rainfall from northeast Georgia through South Carolina, North Carolina, and into portions of South Virginia tomorrow. Now let's take a look at the severe weather threat. You can see an enhanced risk of severe thunderstorms has been added for portions of Texas, Louisiana, through to portions of Mississippi. There have already been numerous storm reports, 44 storm reports already, and it wouldn't surprise me if we see a tornado report get added as well, because one of the tornado warnings did say observed tornado just about an hour ago, and these storm reports are only going to continue to go up. Let's take a look deeper at the current forecast, and you can see here's that enhanced risk once again, and currently there are 2 million people in the enhanced risk area, 14 million people are within the slight risk area, and just over almost 7.5 million people are in the marginal risk area at this time. There is a 10% hatched tornado area that has been added for portions of Texas, Louisiana, and portions of Mississippi, so be mindful, be weather aware if you are in this area. If a tornado warning is issued for you, get to your safe place immediately. Wind threat, that is there as well. Widespread 15% chance for that, and there is a hatched 30% area today for hail from portions of Texas, central Louisiana, and central Mississippi, where there could be rather large hail, up to 2 to 2.5 inch in diameter hail. They're actually saying right here in the warning, a few tornadoes, some of which could be strong, very large hail to the size of baseballs, and isolated wind damage. So yes, these could be some serious storms today, but it does not stop today. There is also the slight risk of severe weather for tomorrow for much of Alabama, much of the state of Georgia, almost all of Georgia, portions of the Florida Panhandle, and portions of South Carolina. Tomorrow there is the isolated threat for a tornado, wind, and even a small hail threat. The hail threat tomorrow is going to be much smaller than the threat for today. Now let's take a look at the latest modeling, and I will show you what goes on there. We're going to start off in the south first, because I want to show you the ongoing severe weather threat. And you can see here, the storms will continue this afternoon across portions of Texas and Louisiana. Storm threat will start to diminish for Texas as we head into this evening, but what we will see continue is this snow, which is going to set up from portions of northern Texas right on into Oklahoma. And you can see that's gradually going to push east and northeast. What you also see here is in portions of Mississippi and portions of Alabama. Yes, we're starting to get into the overnight hours. 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, through tonight, the severe weather threat's going to continue for you, which is very dangerous. When you're talking about the potential for tornadoes at nighttime when you could be sleeping, you want to make sure you have your phone's volume turned on. You want to have your weather radio turned on. That way you can get alerted when a tornado warning goes off for you. Make sure the volume is way up. It'll wake you up. You can get to your safe place immediately. Taking a look overnight, you can see snowfall, Oklahoma City. It continues for you in the overnight hours. And let's take a look at total snowfall amounts on the latest HERMA. This is the 12Z run, actually. And you can see here amounts of 4 to 8 inches across portions of Texas. It's even showing 3 to 6 inches in portions of Oklahoma, where the Weather Service is only going with just a couple inches. We'll have to see if that actually pans out. If it does, it could be an overachiever for you. All right, going back now to simulated radar, you can see here the storms will continue overnight in Alabama right on into the day on Monday, and I'm going to switch the view here to the southeast U.S. and you can see here stormy conditions will continue much of the day on Monday in the southeast, eventually making its way to the coast. But look what happens in Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina. You can see areas of training, very heavy rainfall. Atlanta, Birmingham, Charleston, South Carolina. I'm very concerned for you guys. You will probably be dealing with some flash flooding threats as you head into the day tomorrow. How much rainfall are we talking on the HER model? Well, let me show that to you. You can see here the HER is showing a widespread swath of 3 to locally 5 inches of rainfall. Should that happen, there definitely would be some flash flooding concerns. All right, now let's make our way up into the northeast. We have to talk about the snowstorm aspect for this for the northeast. I'm going to show you several different models. Then I'm going to show you the latest forecast from multiple different National Weather Service forecasting offices. And you can see here, today, not much is going to go on. Could you see a stray shower in Pennsylvania, maybe down in Washington, D.C. or Baltimore? You could, but not expecting much of anything. I don't think most of it will be reaching the ground. If anything, just a sprinkle. Tomorrow, most of the day is dry in the mid-Atlantic region. However, as we head into the evening, some showers will start to break out, generally south of D.C., and in the overnight hours tomorrow night, this will start to fill in. You can see here, the area of low pressure, it starts to come across Kentucky into portions of Virginia and West Virginia. That is the primary low. That low is eventually going to transfer its energy to a brand new low right off the Delmarva somewhere. While it's doing that, the rain snow line is going to collapse, but it is only going to get so far south. You can see right now we're looking at 6Z Tuesday, so that's about 2 to 3 a.m. in the morning on Tuesday. You can see there are moderate to heavy snows across central Pennsylvania. You have steady snow breaking out across the Pocono Mountains, and snow is just starting in New York State. As I advance this further, you can see that rain snow line comes south, gets down to the Lehigh Valley, the I-78 corridor in Pennsylvania. However, look at this. It doesn't get much further south, and at this point, we're now coming to about 5 a.m. on Tuesday morning. Very heavy snows across central Pennsylvania along the I-99 corridor, but you can see again, this rain snow line, it doesn't really advance much more south, and that's not going to happen until the primary low transfers completely over to a secondary low. And you can see at the end of this run, I express caution, this is the HER model. The HER model at the end of a 48-hour run often can change a lot as we get closer to the event. But what I'm showing you here is, look right along I-95, like Philadelphia. You're trying to change over to a mix, but there's rain. South Jersey, still rain for you. Northeast Pennsylvania, north of Interstate 78, much of Connecticut, much of Massachusetts, Albany on southward in New York State. You can see here, very heavy snowfall for you. Let's switch models once again. Let's go over to the NAM model now. Let me reverse this a little bit, and you will see here on the NAM model, you can see here, heavier rainfall. North Carolina, that is going to be a thing for you for much of the day tomorrow. You could see several inches of rain in some places. Now we're coming into Tuesday morning, very early Tuesday morning, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Look at this. It's raining across D.C., Baltimore, the Delmarva, Philadelphia, even back across Pittsburgh. Yes, this is rain for you. As I advance this to the next frame, you can see the rain snow line. It does collapse in western Pennsylvania, central Pennsylvania. You do quickly go over to heavy snow in State College, Pennsylvania, northeast Pennsylvania, like Scranton, Wilkes-Barre. You'll be snowing. And then I advance this again on the NAM model. You can see now we're at 12Z Tuesday. We're around 7, 8 a.m. in the morning. You can see here the Lehigh Valley portion of Pennsylvania. You do change over to some heavy snowfall, central Pennsylvania. New York City, you'll be right on that rain snow line at that time, but the secondary low does get going. I suspect you are going to change over to a period of heavier snow. And unfortunately, once again, look at the timing here. It's 12Z Tuesday. What happens at 7, 8 a.m.? Rush hour. So this could definitely cause problems like the mid-Hudson Valley, portions of Connecticut, northeast Pennsylvania. While you're trying to head to work and school, you could be dealing with some heavy snow. And this is going to be the wet variety of snowfall. So the visibility, it's going to be dropping with this storm, and because of that, I suspect there's going to be weather delays at airports, delays on the roadways. This is not a good type of snow. Luckily, there's no leaves on the trees right now. If there was, we'd be talking about the potential for power outages. Let's advance this even further. You can see, by the time it does really fully change over to snow in places like Philadelphia, you lose the heaviest precipitation. New York City, you'll get a heavy thump of snow for a couple hours, but once this secondary low fully takes over, it's going to get lighter. And you can see here, as we head into Tuesday afternoon, here's the low pressure pulling away, and you're just down to snow showers in Philadelphia. New York City, you're starting to taper down the snow showers. So places like Philadelphia, if you get an inch of snow, consider yourself lucky with the storm. And as we head into Tuesday evening, even Boston, it starts to really wind down for you. But that's not before dumping a significant amount of snow up there. Let's take a look at another model, and this time we will take a look at the GFS. And I want to show you, here's the storm system in the southeast. I'm going to show you the full-scale picture. And you can see on the GFS, here comes the storm system, 6C Tuesday, starts as rain for much of Pennsylvania. Even in the Lehigh Valley of Pennsylvania, it's starting as rain for you. But watch what happens on the GFS. And the GFS has been very consistent with this. You don't have to go too far northwest of I-95 corridor to get into some very heavy snowfall, like Allentown, Pennsylvania, Reading, Pennsylvania, Harrisburg, State College, Wilkes-Barre, Scranton. This is first thing Tuesday morning. It would be snowing very heavy for you on the GFS model. And you can see New York City, you're still rain at that point. Next frame, look at this. You get a couple hours of a thump of heavy snow. Connecticut, you're snowing very heavy. Boston, very heavy snow for you. I mean, this on the GFS, for the GFS to show this, this is 1 to 2 inch per hour rates, possibly even higher. You're talking a storm system that goes down to 981 millibars. I mean, this storm really rapidly deepens, so it would not surprise me if an isolated location somewhere in southern New England has a report of thunder snow, just because of how fast this area of low pressure is deepening. It just would not surprise me, because there's going to be a lot of energy and lifting going on in the atmosphere, and there's enough energy that a rumble of thunder cannot be ruled out with a storm system like this. GFS, you can see here, it does exit the picture by Tuesday evening, not before dumping several inches of snow. Let's take a look at the National Weather Service offices. And the first one we will take a look at is State College. You can see in State College, Pennsylvania, they're going with a general 4 to 6 inches for State College. Lewistown, Pennsylvania, 2 to 3 inches. Altoona, Pennsylvania, 4 to 6 inches. But you look, in the higher elevations, you can see here, they're going with this 6 to 8 inch shade. And then you get up around Wellsboro, Pennsylvania, you start to see the 8 to 12 inch shade showing up. So you can see some places are going to get higher amounts. But you look back across Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, National Weather Service is only forecasting 1 to 2 inches for you. Again, if the GFS is correct, that could change quickly, because the GFS is pointing out a very heavy thumping of snow for you. Taking a look at the Mount Holly National Weather Service, and you can see Philadelphia, they're forecasting an inch or less. Wilmington, Trenton, New Jersey, it's an inch or less. Allentown, Pennsylvania, they're going with 2 to 3 inches. Reading, 1 to 2 inches. And I stress again, if that GFS is right, these numbers here for Reading and Allentown, that could get bumped up a little bit. Mount Pocono, this is a good event for you. The ski resorts, you're going to be really happy with this. While it's not going to be the powdery snow, snow is snow, and you'll take any snow you can get right now. So 8 to 12 inches is being forecasted for Mount Pocono from the National Weather Service. Sussex County, New Jersey, 8 to 12 inches for you. All right, let's go over to Upton. This is New York City's Weather Service office. You can see at this time they're just going with a general 1 to 2 inches of snowfall for New York City, but you don't have to go too far to the north to see increased amounts. White Plains, 3 to 4 inches. Bridgeport, Connecticut, 4 inches. New Haven, Connecticut, 4 to 6 inches is being expected. Danbury, 6 to 8 inches of snow. Middletown, New York, 8 to 12 inches of snow. Cold Springs, 6 to 8 inches of snow. Norwich, Connecticut, look at that. 6 to 8 inches of snow being forecasted for you. Then we come up to the Binghamton office, and we can see here there is widespread 8 to 12 inches of snow. Towanda, Pennsylvania, Binghamton, New York, 8 to 12. And you can even see here they have isolated shades of 12 plus inches of snowfall. Honesdale, Pennsylvania, 8 to 12 inches for you. Then we come back up here to the northwest. Syracuse, just maybe 4 to 6 or maybe 2 to 3 inches for you. And you can see here, Auburn, New York, just 2 to 3 inches for you. There's really a sharp cutoff with this storm system, and that's going to be the case. But hey, we'll have to watch. Sometimes these storm systems like this make a last-minute shift to the north, and should that happen, your numbers would go up significantly. Here's the Albany National Weather Service office, and for Albany itself, they're going with 6 to 8 inches at this time. Saratoga Springs, New York, 4 to 6 inches for you. And then coming down here into the Catskills, along the New York State Thruway, widespread 8 to 12 inches of snow. Sundown, New York, they are going with 12 to 18 inches of snow. And look at this, western Massachusetts in the Berkshires. You can see here, very heavy snowfall is being forecast for you, 8 to 12, even an isolated 12 to 18 inch amount expected for you. And now taking a look here at the latest snowfall totals from the Boston office. Boston itself, 8 to 12 inches of snow. Yes, this would be your biggest snow of the season. You can see Lawrence, Massachusetts, 8 to 12 inches. Greenfield, 8 to 12. Widespread, 8 to 12, generally from Hartford, Connecticut, on northward, in through most of Massachusetts, 8 to 12 inches of snowfall. So this will be a very impressive storm system. And then finally we come to the National Weather Service office in Gray, Maine, and we can see here in southern portions of Maine, 6 to 8 inches. Portsmouth, 8 to 12 inches. And then you can also see here across portions of southern New Hampshire, see impressive snowfall, 8 to 12 inches. But as you come further north, like Berlin, New Hampshire, just an inch of snow. Rumford, Maine, 1 to 2 inches for you. And it's the same deal. Southern Vermont, we'll see maybe 3 to 6 inches of snowfall. When you go to northern Vermont, just an inch or less of snow is expected for you. All right, let's briefly talk about the rest of the country, and I will show you what is expected beyond this time frame. We'll go back to the GFS model. So our storm system, it does exit here on Wednesday. Behind that, conditions turn windy in the northeast. You can see it does start to rain on Wednesday in the Pacific Northwest, portions of the Northwest, quiet in the southeast U.S. That will linger into much of the week, though in the Mid-South, down in Texas, we do note there's another storm system that's going to start coming into play late next week. We have to watch this storm system. There's been several different outcomes on the modeling. There's going to be a storm system in the south, another piece of energy to the north. This piece of energy to the north could provide another round of snow to places in the mid-Atlantic and southern northeast next week. We'll have to watch that. Does this all get its act together and develop an area of low pressure? It could, but the modeling has been really all over the place. GFS is very disorganized with this. You can see nothing big gets going, but what you do notice here is as we head into the end of next weekend, let me switch to temperatures here. You see some very cold air does come into the northeast. Look at this. Temperatures get down into the single digits. And look at places of Pennsylvania. Yes, those are single digits to below zero. So that is something we have to be mindful of as we head into next weekend. You see the rest of the country. You can see generally just slightly below average in the west and down to the mid-south. Slightly below average for you as well, but nothing that is drastic or that is terribly cold. Taking a look on the west coast, yes, as noted, we've been talking about this for a couple days now. There is going to be another atmospheric river event that sets up for California. How it plays out remains to be seen because it's pretty far out there, but there's the threat of flooding. Heavy snowfall in the mountains. I mean, the ground is already saturated in Southern California, even in Northern California, so it's not going to take much of a system to cause some significant problems. This we get going next Saturday, and look at this. I'm going to actually switch this to the West Coast view because I want you to see this. You can see here. Here's next Saturday. It comes on coast, and this lasts day after day after day. You're talking at least 3 to 4 days of heavy rainfall and then just showers, mountain snow. Yes, another atmospheric river event. More precipitation, to be honest with you, that you do not need. Look at this. Very heavy rainfall. And we do know, because the data is so sketchy in the Pacific, these storm systems tend to trend stronger as we get closer in time. Alrighty guys, that does it for today's weather update. We will have another weather update for tomorrow on all this, including the West Coast storm system, and including the storm in the Northeast. We'll have tomorrow's forecast from the National Weather Service, and everything else in between. If you like this content, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe to my channel down below. If you want to support my channel, we are now on Patreon. You can become a member of my Patreon. There's a link for that down below. I will see you guys all again next time. Until I see you again next time, have a fantastic Sunday. Stay safe if you're in the path of the storms down in the south. Don't let the Super Bowl distract you. If you go into a tornado warning, take it seriously and go to your safe place immediately. Have a fantastic afternoon. Thanks for watching.